a terrific job. John Phelan and his gang have done a great job, as has Rugby Canada. The one thing under their control, Linz, was Mother Nature. It looks like she's going to cooperate as well.
Indeed, and of course a lot of the military are here this afternoon with displays from the Navy and the Army, the local military base.
And we should mention the Honourable Peter McKay is here.
Yes.
And he participated in an alumni game that went off a couple hours ago. And I must say, he did a fine job. He set up a try. He made his tackles. Great job by him. He's an ardent supporter of rugby. He was at our first game in the Rugby World Cup. And he's been, as has the federal government, nothing but supportive of this program.
Yeah, it's great to see. And of course, he played that game on the hill a year ago where Al Sharon sort of took him out, didn't he?
Yeah, that's like bumping into an aircraft carrier. He hurt his shoulder pretty seriously.
But just your thoughts on the game for our viewers. What do you think? The USA, tough team, going to be a close game?
Well, you know what? They have an experienced side, and we see Minister McKay saying hello to Todd Clever. Todd Clever's playing at number 8. He had a brilliant game last year at BMO when the Americans played the Canadians. He played flanker. He's their skipper. He's a danger man. He's a swashbuckler, but he's a hard man. And this side, I was talking to Todd. I was talking to their new coach, Mike Tolkien. They had a camp in West Point, and they really like their mix. They have an experienced team, although they do have some youngsters. They have Will Holder playing number 10. And quite frankly, Lindsay, the Americans were very unfortunate not to beat Canada last year at BMO Field if it were not for goal kicking. And I think that's something they hope that Holder can do for them from the number 10 position. There's not going to be much in this game, and I think penalty kicks will be extremely important. We see the coin toss here. Very exciting for Aaron Carpenter, captain of the Canadians for the first time. His counterpart, the very experienced Todd Clever, who plays around the world. He's played in numerous leagues around the world and brings a lot of experience to this pesky American side. I think this game is going to be close. It's going to be scrappy. As I said, the Americans were unfortunate not to win last year, and we're going to go to the anthems now, Linz.
First of 3 tests, Canada against the USA next Friday night, I should say, 7 o'clock, Italy against Canada. The Canadian national anthem. Crowd on their feet, clapping, applauding. Now the USA. rousing edition of the Canadian National Anthem. The crowd on their feet clapping, and good crowd here at Richardson Stadium this afternoon for the kick-off coming up just in a few minutes. But Brian, quite pleased to see the walk-up crowd here. They did sell a lot of tickets, and really the organising committee's done a great job.
Yeah, I think Nick Taylor will be delighted, and I think the weather has helped that. They weren't sure what they would get with a walk-up crowd. The people are still coming in. It's a beautiful day here in Kingston, and I think we're going to be just about at capacity. The beer tents have been full for a while, Linz. I noticed that, but the stands are filling up.
That's important, isn't it? Yeah, so we're going to get the game underway, and of course the referee Yonkers from South Africa in the middle, wearing the IRB uniform of blue.
I think it's important that Canada wants to get off to a good start. You know, these players are very experienced at this level, most of them, but there are a lot of nerves out there. They haven't played together as a team since the World Cup. The players have all been playing for their different clubs literally around the world. They've had a nice preparation camp in Ottawa. They're just raring to go, but I think the first 5 or 10 minutes, we will see some jitters. We may see a couple drop balls, but I think it's important that Canada establish themselves and make it known they're playing at home and this is their barn.
Hearn to get it underway, the winger kicking off for Canada, just bring it down just outside the 22, but it looked like it might have been knocked forward, and it was indeed the referee playing the advantage, but that's a good start. Good kick by young man Hearn to cause the knock forward, so the referee Yonkers put the scrum, and this is the first scrum for Canada just on the 22-metre line.
Yeah, we talked about the jitters, and that was a bad mistake by the Americans. Right off the trot, puts the Canadians in a very good attacking position. Let's see what they have on here, Linz, but I'm sure they're going to go right at their back line.
So White to feed the ball in, the scrum half, Sean White. They'll hold it at the back there with Carpenter, and they do indeed. Now they're trying to move it wide. Good work on the inside, a bit of a run. In there was the flank forward, Dutello, made a good tackle there for the USA. Now the drive comes on from Canada. The ball's gone loose. The counter punch from the USA up to the 22-metre line. Some good work there by Cleaver. Now trying to move it wide with the Canadians, maybe trying to take them on at their own game.
Yeah, the referee played a long advantage. Nanyak Dalad knocked that on. He gave the advantage. The Americans are going to clear it. I thought he might blow it up and give them the scrum, but it's back to Canada, and they're on the attack again.
Yeah, Pritchard gets caught just on that 10-metre line. USA into Canadian territory. Just 10 metres in from the touchline in front of the main commentary box. So good work by Canada the first couple of minutes. Just moving forward to their forwards, just driving forward. Now good work out to Evans. Evans ducks and dives. Now gets away. Now they're getting him back, and Pritchard chasing it, and also Schultz right up there, putting the pressure on the USA, but they'll come back for the dropout 22. But that was good. That was a good break.
Smaller end zones here. That was a great break. I think he might have wanted to keep the ball in hand. He had support on his right shoulder and obviously kicked it through the end zone. I think he might, if he was doing that again, popped it up.
Good point. But Evans getting it away. Matt Evans, quite a dangerous player at fly half for Canada.
Yeah, this Canadian team features 12, starting 15 features 12 players that were World Cup squad players, but there are players like Ryan Hamilton and Hooker that didn't get a lot of minutes in the World Cup, and this is their day to shine. Ryan is now playing, that Pat Riordan is retired, but many of these Canadian boys in the starting lineup, this is their time. They're building already towards England 2015.
Yeah, it's a good point. This is the first game since the World Cup, and what a World Cup it was for Canada. I was down there covering it, Brian, for TSN, and I tell you, everywhere I walked, people came up and talked about the Canadian team. Just loved them.
Yeah, obviously the Beardos, and they were well received, well liked in New Zealand, and did a terrific job overall.
That's White getting in there and causing a bit of a problem for the USA. Good work by the scrum half for Canada, but the referee puts the scrum down. It's going to be Canada ball.
And speaking of the World Cup and the two test matches last August against the Americans before the World Cup, one individual who really impressed me was loosehead prop Hubert Bidens. He had a terrific campaign. He's come to the program from football in Saskatchewan, and he is acclimatized very nicely, wearing number 1 at the loose head position.
Let's talk about the second row for Canada. Buchenboom and Hodson.
Yeah, Buchenboom's from Lindsay. He's a big man, and obviously there's a couple of big names. Luke Cudmore unavailable, Kleberger unavailable, and this is a big moment for Buchenboom at second row.
Schultz coming in on the angle, very effective, just up to the 22 now. Big drive in there by Canada. There goes White, the scrum half, as he gets it on the outside. We got the first try there by Evans, going over. Matt Evans for the try. A beautiful try for Canada. The crowd standing up, holding the signs, Go Canada. And I tell you what, they're using those angles very well, and they are catching the US side's napping, Brian.
He went in untouched, and a few moments ago, Lindsay, he went on about a 30-meter gallop when he kicked the ball through the end zone. He is having a stormer, Matt Evans at number 10, and he just put a bit of a swivel on a couple of tacklers. He did have support, but he didn't have to put it out, Lindsay. Awesome try.
That's the second time that he's caused havoc for USA, this time scoring the young man, Matt Evans. So the conversion to come just to the right of the post. Quite a handy position. The wind is behind, just blowing behind the Canadian team. So Pritchard, kick of about 18 metres to the right of the post, kicks it, and up go the flags. So the extra points there with Canada leading 7-0 after 10 minutes of play against the USA.
You know, I must say, Mike Tolkien, the New Yorker, the new coach of the Americans after Eddie O'Sullivan, he is going to be very disappointed with that. That was much too easy for Canada, Linz, and the Yanks are going to have to tighten things up.
Holder kicks off for the US. Just comes down inside the Canadian 22. Pritchard clearing. And a good touch finder. Has the flag gone up? No, they're going to play on. There was a quick throw in. There's the big number 8, Cleaver, as he drives forward just over the 10-metre line. US trying to just move it through the hands of Suniula. One of the American Samoa players in this USA side, out to Holder. They just settle things down and drive forward the US on that 10-metre line. Holder, a little kick through, grubber kick, but doesn't find the touch. Touch picked up by Hearn. Kick forward by Vandermeer. It just goes into touch. The touch judge has got his flag up just inside the US half, just by the 10-metre line.
Yeah, Kieran Hearn is one of the biggest international wingers you'll see. Obviously, that flashy Welsh team have some big backs, but Kieran Hearn, 6'3". I was watching him in the warm-up, Lindsay, putting penalty kicks over from 50 meters with plenty of room. He can really whack the ball. Big, strong winger.
So we're just coming up to 7 minutes in this first half. Canada leading 7-0. Good hands back in there. Dutella again. They like to use him on the short side. Good drive by the US. Setting the ball up. Just quickly put it on the angle. Doyle coming in there, the second rower for the US. Oh, and it's picked up by Canada, but just couldn't quite get away of it. And the referee's blowing his whistle, said it was knocked forward. And scrum will be the USA.
Yeah, the U.S. Features some big men. I thought that Stanfill had a nice series against the Canadians last August. He's a big mobile lock. The Americans do match the Canadians in the forwards. I think their commitment to the breakdown and reproducing the ball is the issue that they're going to have to deal with today. I expect a big game from Canada's Chauncey O'Toole to disrupt things. The Americans, it's really important after giving up what was a bit of a soft try that they get right back into the game now for the next 5 minutes and really try to reestablish themselves, Linz.
Petrie gets it out to Holder. Now they'll try to move it through the back line, the USA. They bring the fullback in, Chris Wiles. Chris Wiles having a run. Now getting him back to the number 11 left wing, Hume. And Hume goes over for the try. A good try there by the USA. Created by Chris Wiles as the extra man coming in at fullback and just quickly tossing the ball out on the outside to Luke Hume.
Yeah, I mentioned it was important. I just mentioned a moment ago it was important for the Americans to get back into it. And get back into it they did with a nice run. Kieran Crowley will not be happy with the missed tackle. Got to make the tackle. The winger made a bit of a jiggy move, but he's got to be tackled in that instance. Going to be a tough conversion, but now it's up to the Canadians to regroup after letting in what I think is a soft try.
Yeah, you're right, Brian, because there's just a couple of missed tackles and just gave them a bit of room to move that ball wide.
You know, we mentioned the experience on the U.S. side, and one veteran in that back line is Paul Emmerich. He's been around what seems forever, and he was involved in that play, straightened things up. The ball came out to the right wing, but that tackle had to have been made.
So Holder, the fly half, Will Holder, going for the extra points to even up the score, 7-5 at the moment. This is a difficult kick. This is 28 metres on the angle. Not going to do it. And so 7-5, Canada leading after 9 minutes in the first half.
And as I mentioned before the game, when I was speaking with Mike Tolkien, the USA coach, he was desperate to get some goal kicking out of his side. He thought they left a lot of points on the table against the Canucks last year, and that's a shocking effort right there by the young number 10, Will Holder. And as kickers go bad, it can get worse. He needs to get right back on the beam next time around.
I've seen the All Blacks miss them in front. So you're right there. Anyway, kick-off just inside the 22-metre of the US. Canada right up there flat, trying to stop the US run. In there taking a good tackle was Mike Schultz. Stops the forward rush. So defence, Della just on the outside waiting, but they pull it back to Holder. Holder kicks for touch, and he'll find touch.
Nanyak Della is another player who obviously went to New Zealand, didn't get a lot of minutes. He has worked extremely hard this past winter. He's on the IRB Sevens team. He's looking for a big game today. He wants to establish himself as a player that Kieran Crowley can rely on and go to in a big game at number 6 or 7.
Hamilton throws in for Canada. Throws the middle line out. It's Canadian ball. Just lost the ball there, and they're trying to tidy up too was O'Toole. Now they're going to move it wide. They quickly get it out to Van der Merwe. Dangerous man. If he can get a break, he's away. Through the centres there with Schultz. Schultz been in the thick of things. When Canada runs, it causes all kinds of panic for the USA defence. And they'll go the short side this time. And they've got Hearn. And goes over for the try. And they just spun it out there to the winger. Classic winger try.
Yeah, we talked about his size, Linz, and he pushed a few people off. But that play was made up by the quick recycling of the ball and also a great gallop by the skipper, Aaron Carpenter. Kept the ball alive as he ran into the American fullback, Chris Wiles, and they recycled it quickly, and it was a gimme on the wing to Kieran Hearn. He'll feel better about that after missing that tackle on the U.S. try.
And Schultz in the thick of things, the outside centre, but the forwards are doing well. O'Toole, Della, they're getting there, aren't they? And to the
terrific stuff.
Yeah.
And what is going to be very interesting in this game is the last quarter, because we are going to see reserves coming on. It's very muggy. It's very hot. The last 20 minutes of this game will be interesting to see if the pace can be kept even with the substitutions coming on. Already we see a couple Americans with their heads down. These are big, fit men, but it is pretty hot out there, Linz, and I know that their second rows, for example, are hanging a bit already.
Conversion, 28 metres on the far touchline, and up go the flags. That's a terrific, excellent conversion, and that by Pritchard, and he kicks it from the touchline.
Yeah, Pritchard was money in the World Cup, and they missed him to injury in that tie against Japan, but his methodical style, he's the same every time, but he is money when he's kicking.
So this is an entertaining game with moving the ball around at every opportunity. So the kick-off by Holder. just down on the 22. Canada kick for touch. So that'll bring play down to the 10-metre line. Actually, the line out will be right on the 10-metre line. Make it easier to throw in. Make it easier for the referee. So the referee from South Africa, Yonkers, letting the game play an advantage, but letting the game flow.
Yeah, he's been terrific. And as I said, I was talking to him before the game, and he's very excited. You know, many referees are former players, and they still get the butterflies, but he's delighted to be in Canada. And he said he's really enjoyed Kingston, and he was looking forward to kickoff today, and he just wanted to get it going.
So 14 minutes gone in the first half. Canada leading over the USA, 14 points to 5. A try just by Hearn in the far corner.
I know that Kieran Crowley is experimenting with a lot of things, but I think, although it's early in the game, Lindsay, he's going to be delighted with his 9-10 combo. Sean White and Matt Evans, they look great.
Yeah. And here's the break again, there by Hearn, who scored the try. Just splits the defence again. This is better for Canada. And it was O'Toole trying to move the ball wide. Now it goes back to the forwards. But I tell you what, they're really impressing me with the break. There goes the big forward of Tiedemann. Just lost the ball forward. Now the US on the counter attack. And good tackling there as Hume goes down on his knees. Duatello just running forward there, got 5 metres. Now just still trying to punch through the Canadian defence, the US. The fullback's up in there and plays the ball back, Chris Wiles.
Very good stuff by the Americans, Linz. Their ball retention is terrific.
Good work by the forwards. Fry in there. The US just driving forward, setting the ball up for their scrum half, Petrie. Petrie just delivers it there. The whole there goes in the big number 8, Cleaver. So Petrie wants the ball. Just using the forwards at the moment. It's just a pick and drive. Petrie again. Now a little kick through there by Holder. That's a handy little kick and we'll find touch. Just, no, it doesn't. Goes over the dead ball line. Sorry, folks. I thought it had gone into touch there in the corner, but the way the touch assistant referee put his flag up. But
yeah, what he's called actually is advantage, and they were playing American advantage, and Sean Duke took that very casually. I think the danger man for the Americans on the right wing, Luke Hume, was almost away again. The ball did go through. It was advantage to the Americans. They're going to take a shot at goal here to get this within a converted try, Lindsay.
Yeah, Holder just getting the donut ready.
Just in that last phase, though, the Americans looked like they had a little more confidence. Their ball in contact, they were cycling and reproducing. And to put this through, it's just reward for 2 or 3 minutes of very solid rugby.
Canada leading 17-5, 14 minutes gone on the first half. Here's the penalty kick by Holder, just outside the 22. Kick of 24 metres on the angle, just to the right of the post. It looks like it's got the height, it's got the direction. Yes, indeed. So extra 3 points on the board.
And that's a big kick for the youngster after missing that convert terribly after the U.S. try. That was solid, and the Americans are only down 5 now.
Yeah, 14-8, USA leading in this international rugby match. Test matches of 3 next Saturday at BMO Field in Toronto against Italy, and then out to Vancouver to play Georgia. And these are all tough games, Brian.
Well, I was saying before the game, I was talking to Kieran Crowley, and I think this is a very important game for Canada because they know it's going to be extremely tough next week in Toronto against the Italians. And if they were to lose that, then they're going to British Columbia to play the very tough scrummaging Georgians. This is a game Canada has to have in this series.
Get out to Holder. Right foot. Puts it into touch. Carpenter thinking of taking a quick tap, but we've got two players down on the field, Brian.
It's Todd Clever and Sean Duke. Sean Duke went up on the kickoff, and the two players collided. It was a big collision. The big number 8 for the Americans, their skipper, is down. But I think Sean Duke might have been concussed. I think he hit his head, and he's being attended to now. Clever's up. He's okay. But Sean Duke took a pretty good hit there. We'll see how he goes.
So physio's on the field.
Now this gives you time, Lindsay. I'm looking at the clock, and we're 20 minutes in, and you haven't told the listeners and viewers that New Zealand thumped Ireland 42-10. I'm shocked that it's taking you this long.
I was leaving that for you.
But I'll help you out. And,
I feel sorry for the Irish. I mean, here's an All Black side, lots of new players, and really, when they put that black jersey on, they become something else, don't they?
I think Ireland went down there with great expectation, a tough 3-series test. They're building already towards 2015, and we have to mention as well that Wales had a good run but lost to the Wallabies 27-19 in Australia. The Wallabies still stinging from that 9-6 loss to Scotland.
What a great win for Scotland.
Great win.
Didn't expect that. But then the conditions were pretty atrocious. High winds.
A win's a win's a win.
Yeah, that's true. So Duke's back on the field. He's recovered. Good work there by White again. Just keeping the momentum going. White wanting the ball, but advantage being played offside by USA. And that was against the number 8, Cleaver, Todd Cleaver, just getting over that advantage line. So the referees signaled that Pritchard will be taking a shot at goal. It's just outside the 22 metres. So it's a 35 metres to the goal post, but it's well within his distance. I've seen him put them over from just on the halfway line.
Yeah, and I think what the Canadians want to do is take that 3 points right off the board that the Americans just got and put themselves ahead by more than 7 points. Pritchard's fluid stroke, he addresses all kicks the same. He's very methodical. He takes a 3-step approach, and whether he's kicking a 10-meter convert or a 43-meter penalty, he approaches the ball the same way.
So here he comes, 15 metres in, 35 out. Oh, I tell you, he's got the distance and the height.
Boy,
and up go the flags. And that's a brilliant kick by Pritchard, the fullback. James Pritchard, number 15, puts over the 3 points. So 17-8 to Canada after 21 minutes.
Yeah, that had a lot of gas. That hit the beer tent. That would have been good from an extra 10 or 15 meters.
Yes.
And Pritchard's approach, only that 3-step approach, almost like an American football player.
It's all in timing, isn't it? It's
very fluid.
And I tell you what, that was a bit of a distance too. Oh, that's good. And they lift up the number 5, Hodson, to take that ball. That was a planned move by the Canadians. Over the top goes White. A little Gary Owen, but puts it into touch, so they'll have to come back just outside their 22 metre.
Tyler Hodson's another player chomping at the bit to get on the park and get some minutes. He is going to be one of their big men for years to come. He's strong, he's mobile, he's a good scrummager. Him and Bukaboom in the second row are a formidable pair, Linz.
They lifted him up like they were in the line out, didn't they?
They do that on kickoffs as an advantage.
Yeah. The USA trying to get back into it. They're just outside the Canadian 22. Good spiraling pass by Petrie. Just scrambling there to get over the ball, and they've got it under control. Petrie, again, just puts it back into the second row, Doyle. Doyle puts his head down and drives. There goes the hooker, Biller. Prop McDonald just going in, taking it in now. Using some of their big boys, or big men I should say, just over the 22 metre line of Canada. Just Canada standing off there and just waiting. They get it out to the outside centre, Emmerich. Emmerich's taken down, but the penalty coming to the USA against Canada.
Yeah, Canada seemed a bit on their heels on defense there, and the Americans just kept hammering away. And the South African referee has called the Canadians for being offside. And this is a very makeable kick for the Americans. to pull closer once again. You were mentioning many names on that play, the Billers, the Stanfields, the Clevers. These are all World Cup veterans, and the Americans had a decent campaign. Despite getting whacked pretty good by the Wallabies, they had a good win against Russia, who are a formidable scrummaging side, Linz, and they played extremely well against the Irish. Even though they lost 22-6, they played real well in that game. And this American team ranked 17th in the world. They want to move that up. Canada's at 13. We have the Georgians, who we're going to see in a few weeks. The Italians, very tough. So the next few weeks of rugby in Canada should be terrific.
So penalty kick, come by Holder, right in front, just inside the 22. No problems whatsoever as the flags go up. So extra 3 points to the fly half. That brings it to 17-11. 25 minutes gone in this first half. USA, had a reasonable World Cup, but I think of Canada beating Tonga, and I suppose the big disappointment was Japan. But that game, I know Kieran Crowley was disappointed with it, but it's really a big win against Tonga.
Yeah, and obviously things didn't unfold the way the rugby gods, the Canadian rugby gods, would have had them, with Tonga upsetting France. The France game versus Canada, I thought the score was not indicative of the play. The Canadians hung around, and in the last 10 minutes,
you're right.
The Flying Frenchman ran in a few tries, but I thought Canada were in that game. Against Japan, they left a lot of points on the table with missed kicks. As I said, Pritchard went down, Andrew Monroe struggled a bit, but the Canadians seemed to be organized today in the kicking mode.
Good throw by Hamilton, the line out on the 22, but the Canadians lose it forward. Now counter-attack by USA, but good tackling there by the fly half Evans for Canada, puts his opposition number down on the field. USA just grinding away, trying to move that forward. Now they've lost it forward. Talk about turnovers in the last few minutes. Big pass as they move it wide to get it to Carpenter. So wanting the ball.
Some people say Carpenter's too small to be an international number 8. His low center of gravity, Linz, is a benefit to him. He just pushed another tackler off.
Yeah.
Although the Canadians ended up losing the ball, Aaron Carpenter is a hard man to bring down.
Pritchard going in for the ball. There was a kick that just went nowhere by Holder. There's been a lot of turnovers in the last few minutes. It's hot out there. Now it comes back on the USA side. Holder getting rid of it, but not a good pass by him. Kicked away there by Della. Now to the centre, Van der Merwe. Now it's the US ball. I tell you, Brian, it's going back and forth there as McDonald tidies up for the USA.
Yeah, the coaches will be going nuts. Too many errors, too many drop balls. That ball in contact at this level, Linz, has to be automatic. Has to be right back, automatic.
I haven't seen one of those dive passes as the big number 5 there for the USA, Doyle, tries to stride out, and he had a good run there. Not much support for him. Now Holder, Tiro, another pass that's not good. Quickly getting it through the hands there of the prop forward, McDonald.
Yeah, if Todd Clever had a pass there, he might have been off to the races. The pass was low. He did well to collect it, and the States have turned it over after such a great run.
The referee playing advantage for Canada. He may bring it back, and he is indeed. So he says it was knocked forward. We've got an injury down there on the far touchline, Brian. It's one of the US players down.
Yeah, they're really hitting out there. There's a lot of contact, but the U.S. will be very disappointed with that. They did have the break. They had the support in the forwards. They spun it left. The play looked like it was on, and they've turned it over. The U.S. are going in spurts where they look very polished and very committed, and they're winning the ball, and then they're just spilling it. And as I said, their coach, Mike Tolkien, will be going crazy because that was an opportunity lost.
Yeah, I tell you, the US forwards, when they get running with ball in hand, they're doing extremely well. As you said, the World Cup players, they are involved in that. But,
yeah, that was a good gallop by Doyle, big number 5, and great support as expected by Todd Clever. He has been all over the park. After taking that knock, he seems fine. And if that pass was better, he might have been off and running.
So we have a scrum down on the far side of the field, opposite from the main grandstand. So it's inside the Canadian 22. USA on the attack. But it's Canadian ball. We'll have to clear this, Brian. The Whites got the ball, good out to Evans. Now they're going to run it. My word, a bit of a risk in that, but taking it to the ground was Hodson, and the touch judge has got his flag up. I just wonder if it would have been better just to kick for touch.
Yeah, they seem to be running from all opportunities, but I agree they should have cleared that ball. And we see Jeff Hassler coming in, substitution for Canada on the far wing. About 10 minutes ago, Sean Duke took a knock, and I don't think he's quite right, and he's going to be coming off, but he'll be disappointed with that. Fairly early for a substitution. I don't think this is a tactical substitution. I think Duke is not quite right, and they're going to get him off the park.
So number 14, the right wingish. Duke just coming off. Had a good game. So quickly getting it through to Emmerich. The outside centre. Hasn't seen much of the ball. Going now to Holder. Oh, I tell you what, this could be close. It was a little inside pass, and the referee's going to award the try. And it looks like it was James Peterson getting the try, but there was a good little flick pass in the inside by Holder, and just went straight through Peterson. That's the right winger going for the try.
And so well deserved, Linz. The Americans have been the better team in the last 5 minutes. They've been relentless. Their ball in contact has been extremely good. They're producing the ball, and they've been rewarded. And this convert could put them in their first lead of the game.
Out in the front, you're right. 30 minutes gone. 17-16 with the conversion to come. Make it 18-17 to the USA. There's sort of been lapses, hasn't it, Brian, where, defence by the Canadians has sort of been a bit lacking sometimes, and yet they do brilliant things on attack.
Well, they have been together now for several days getting organized, but just at times you can just tell they haven't been together much since last fall. And the convert is good, and Canada trails for the first time, but that'll come with experience. I know Kieran Crowley wants to come out of this series, these 3 tests, with obviously more experience and the team pointed in the right direction. But all that being said, he will be disappointed with some of the things he's been seeing in the first 30, 35 minutes, Linz.
So 18-17, 31 minutes gone in the second half. 9 minutes to go to half-time. Kick-off. Good kick-off. Just inside the 22. This will give the USA some confidence.
Yeah, that was well taken. Actually, Kieran Hearn, after he kicked that, shook his head. He knew he kicked it too deep, which would not allow the Canadian forwards to put any pressure on it.
Here's the counter-attack by Carpenter. Aaron Carpenter. Goes to ground. Good work there by White. There's the lock forward there, number 3, Tiedemann.
And you see Dalla there. You see his sevens
just
experience.
On his side, yeah. So White wanting the ball. He just brings it straight back to Evans. Evans was going to have a drop goal, but just took his eyes off the ball.
Well, he knew that was a freebie. It was advantage to the Canadians. The Americans were offside. He had a free shot at goal. He did drop it, and obviously they go back to the advantage. But I think Aaron Carpenter would be wise to take the points here as he is, and Pritchard will attempt to get the Canadians back in the lead.
So let's have a look at this kick. It's on the angle of the left of the post, Brian. It's right on the 15 metres in from the touchline. Kick of 36 metres on the angle, and roughly.
Yeah, he's 3 for 3 today.
Yeah.
He's looked very sharp, and same setup every time. Points the ball towards the posts. Very methodical as he winds back, and he moves very slowly towards the ball. even to the point on some converts, Linz, when they rush him, you think the ball might be blocked, but he is very methodical.
So James Pritchard. Canada needs these points. Settles himself, now comes in, kicks it. And up go the flags. So another conversion by James Pritchard to make it Canada 20 points to 18 after 34 minutes. So Canada back in the lead, and USA have got 18. So 35 minutes coming up. So only 5 minutes to go to the half time. What do you think Kieran Crowley will say to the Canadians at halftime?
Well, I think he's going to tell them just to tighten it up a bit. I think they have to get a little reorganized on defense. I think the States have had a couple of runs that the defensive lanes seemed a bit disorganized. Overall, he's going to tell them to stay the course, and I think he's going to live off the boot of James Pritchard, who's 4 for 4, and the Canadians will take what the Americans will give them.
Good drive by Canada. Hodgson went up from that kickoff, took a beautiful catch. Canadians just wanting to drive it. White just telling the forwards to get in. But the ball goes out on the other side. And an intercept there by Schultz for Canada as Petrie was trying to toss the ball over his head. So Canada got a chance on the far side of the field. But the referee says, gentlemen, we'll come back. It's going to be the line out or a scrum. He's going to put the scrum down, I take it.
Yeah, it was knocked on. He was playing advantage.
Lost forward, yeah.
The Americans thought they were off to the races, but the referee was playing advantage rightly, and it's going to be a put into Canada here. They want to tighten it up. They want to go into the half with the lead, Linz. There's 4 minutes to go. They don't want to play run and gun with the Americans and maybe give up a loose try at this point. I think the Canadians want to get the ball going forward and feed off that with the second and third phase ball.
You can see the scrum forming there on your screen. Of course, number 9 is White. That will be putting that ball in. So Sean White just feeding the scrum. Good push there by the Canadians. US trying to move it around. But again, it's the break off on that far side. But the touch judge got his flag up. So US taking advantage of the quick throw in. Again, this is good work there by Hearn, but Canada trying to counterpunch, and the referee just blows his whistle.
Yeah, the Canadians spilled that. It's going to be American put in. But I tell you, one guy who's had a decent first half, and he's probably seen too much traffic for his liking, is the American fullback, Chris Wiles. Canada's had 4 or 5 big-time breaks, and he has made his tackles, in spite of the fact that Canadians have punched in a couple of tries. And another example of that there, where he took down the big man, Kieran Hearn.
Scrum to go down, USA. Be Petrie to feed it, but no, the referee's not happy with it. Out the back on the angle is Holder. Suniala, the American Samoan player. Just wanting that ball, but the referee comes around to watch what goes on in this scrum. Oh, big push by Canada. And I tell you what, they've caused a few problems on Petrie. The ball's loose now. They get it to the number 7. That's O'Toole. And O'Toole was away to the races, and the crowd not liking the sort of high tackle on O'Toole. But I tell you what, he was nearly away, Brian.
Yeah, you know, we haven't heard his name enough in the first half, Linz. World-class player, had a big campaign in New Zealand, And number 7, Chauncey O'Toole, we haven't heard him enough in the first half.
Got a lot of accolades down under, didn't he? And played extremely well. You're right, the referee. So we've got a... So we've got a line out taking place, and it'll be just about 8 metres away to the goal line for Canada. Throwing the ball in as Hamilton throws to the back of the line out. Sort of popped up a bit. Looks like it was picked up by the USA. They have indeed. So defensive maul to try to clear this ball, and they'll get it back to Holder. Holder right foots it, puts it into touch.
Although the Canadians are going to get the ball back here in the line-out, I'm a little surprised by that decision by Aaron Carpenter, the Canadian skipper, that they didn't elect to go for points. They're up by 2 points now. It's almost halftime. Pritchard has been spot on. I think as a coach, I might have taken a shot at goal there. The Canadians are fortunate. They will get the ball back and do have time to attack again.
Duatello is injured, just took a knock for the US, the big number 7, so getting some attention there on the ground.
And he's had a wonderful half, Linz. He's been very mobile. He's made his tackles. He's been giving the Canadian centers fits. He's been in their face a lot. He's had a terrific first half.
So 2018, just coming up to halftime, only a minute to go. Referee looking at his watch. Scrum to go down, Canada ball, just 15 metres in from the touchline, 5 metres out from the goal line. Can Canada score a try just before half-time? Good push by Canada. And that was picked up there by Duatello, just tidying up the loose ball. Quickly Holder tries to put the pass over his head. Canada trying to stay on their feet. Petrie, referee blows his whistle and says it's half-time, gentlemen. So at half-time, it's 20-18, and so it's been a good first half. Brian, your thoughts? Canada just got to tidy up the little things, and good applause by the Canadian crowd here at Rich's Stadium.
I think we got what we expected, Linz. We talked off the top that it would be a little bit scrappy. We did see some drop balls and turnovers that we shouldn't see at this level, but we also saw some committed rugby, and we saw some sharp shooting by James Pritchard. I think at this point, Kieran Crowley will take the lead. They'll regroup, but as I said, I think they're going to feed off the boot of James Pritchard in the second half. They would like to put on a show for this big crowd, but more importantly, they need the win. And if they have to kick their points to get the win, they will do it.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, I was quite impressed. I was quite impressed with some of the players. I mean, I just think the American forwards there of Doyle, Lavella, and Cleaver, especially at number 8, and Petrie, the scrum half, had a good half there for the USA, so we shouldn't take it away from the US. But Carpenter at number 8 and Della, O'Toole came into the match a wee bit, but Hodgson having a great game this afternoon with Evans especially, and Hearn, so of course scoring those tries. What do you think, Brian? It's
well, I think the game's obviously there to be had, and the Americans, if I was Mike Tolkien, I would be telling the Americans, we've played some good rugby, we just have to keep our pieces together. And the Americans seem to go for 4 and 5 minutes, and then they're out of it for a few minutes. And it's all about cohesion, playing with new players, getting it all going forward. But there were certain stanzas in that first half where the Americans looked terrific. And they know they're in this game. Todd Clever, when I spoke to him, he said anything but a win will be disappointing for his group. And they're here to win. They'll regroup as well. It's going to be a great second half. But I think it may come down to the boot of James Pritchard.
Yeah, and you look what's coming up, because Canada against Italy. Italy were criticised in the Six Nations that they just didn't have a kicker to put over those points. And that's the difference between Canada. Pritchard can actually put the points over the crossbar. Italy, big forwards, got some good backs. What do you think? It's
Well,
going to be a tough day at the office.
Yeah, I think that's a real tough ask for Canada, even in Toronto. You know, this Italian team 15, 16 months ago beat France in the Six Nations, the World Cup finalist, and they are the real deal. And it's very ironic, the point you make, Linz, because the Italians are renowned for their footballers, and they always have had great kickers. They have struggled a bit, but they are bringing big forwards. It'll be the homecoming for Robert Barbieri from Woodbridge. That is a very tough ask for this Canadian team. And the following weekend in Burnaby, it doesn't get any easier with that tough Georgian pack that pushed teams like Scotland around in the World Cup. So, as we said off the top, I think this is a game Kieran Crowley would love to have in his back pocket and build on, because the next 2 weeks are going to be tough.
Yeah, and one of the things too, you mentioned the Canadian player from Woodbridge playing on the Italian side, and of course had a great World Cup and great Six Nations.
Yeah, he's a terrific player, and I know he's very excited, as are his family, his alma mater, Father Brissani up in Woodbridge, his former coach, Dominic Scuglia, who is a terrific servant to rugby in Canada, is very excited for him. It's going to be a great weekend for the Barbieris in Toronto.
For the family, yeah. Joined us in the boxes, Rick Powers. Rick, you've been down on the sideline and the action there. Canada, great when they're running the ball. Bit of defence sometimes just lacking, but I think, as Brian Spanton said, that Crowley will talk to them and just tighten it up a bit. But I tell you what, they're looking good.
You know, they came out with all guns blazing, you know, this reference to the War of 1812 here, and they quickly got on the board, but they have, they let it drop off a little bit, as you said. Defensive mistakes, a little bit, some missed tackles, and allowed the Americans to get back into it. But this is a Canadian team. I'm surprised, really. You know, this is pretty early in the season, and they're playing very, very well. Except, as we said, a few miscues, but this is I think they're going to come out after Coach Crawley has a talk with them.
And when they move the ball and go the short side or just up the flanks with Hearn, the winger, man, I tell you, they can put the pace on. And I'm very impressed with the backs, and especially Evans and Schultz and Hearn especially. Just Duke went off, but Pritchard also at fullback. I mean, it's a good combination in those backs.
It really is, and they're running onto the ball as well. So they're taking the ball at speed and charging right into the American defense, and then offloading as they should. So again, you're right, the backs have really played well. Forwards solid, but it's really been a backs game so far for both teams. You know, some great runs from the Americans as well.
Now, Rick, this is your old stomping ground, Queen's University, Richardson Stadium. Good crowd, the organising committee done a good job.
They really did, you know, under the direction of John Phelan. He had lots of help, obviously, but John, former captain of the Canadian team. They have a really big crowd here today, and this is great as well. Not sure if our viewers can see this, but they have the mini rugby out there right now playing and giving them an opportunity to showcase the local talent on the big stage.
Yeah, big time for them indeed it is. But like corporate boxes here, Rick, they've a lot of corporate enjoying it. The beer tents are going, and a good crowd that's walked in because what was it, 4,500 tickets sold pre to the game, and then a big walk-up crowd, and the stands, the main stand in front of the commentary box is fairly full, is very full actually, and crowds getting into the game here at Kingston, and I'm quite proud that the Army are here, the Navy are here, of course because of the war, but also the Minister of Defence, Peter McKay.
He played in the Classics game, as you mentioned probably previously, which the Canadian team won over the Americans. He's a rugby fan, as we know, true and true, and he's here with his wife today enjoying the game. And obviously the military connection. They've got a tank in one corner. You've got the amphibious boat in the other corner, and a lot of the armed personnel around taking families and kids over, explaining the vehicles to them. So a real festival here, built around, as you said, the War of 1812, and the two teams getting together for this annual game. Yeah,
and for the folks that don't know, Peter McKay, the Minister of Defence, plays rugby, and actually is not a bad rugby player. Recently got married and took his wife over to meet some of the Army personnel. Just a down-to-earth good guy. I know it's hard being a Minister of Defence because you got to take it all, don't you?
Well,
get criticised. But I tell you what, he's been one of the better ministers for the Canadian government.
He has. You know, it's always a tough position. You know, you can't win for losing in that position. It's one of the toughest portfolios to have. and they've had some issues, obviously. But Minister.
Yeah, Minister. I know what you mean. Yeah,
Minister McKay
yes.
is he is a down-to-earth guy. He likes to get in and mix it up with the fans and mix it up with the people. And you said just a normal day-to-day guy. If you didn't know he had a title, you'd just think he was one of the normal gents out in the field.
He stayed here to watch the game. So
yeah, he's as you said, he's a true fan.
And that's good to see. What do you think Canada got to do in the second half, Rick?
I think coach is going to just tell them to come out and start playing like they did at the beginning of the game. They came out, as I said, with gangbusters. They are ready. I think they're going to take this game away in the second half. They're fit. They've had a lot of time together, which normally they don't. But for this early in the season, and as Brian mentioned, 2 big games coming up after this, I think I agree with Brian. Coach would love to have this one in the back pocket going into Italy in Toronto next Friday evening.
Yeah, and Georgia, bit unknown, but they've had some good wins against Russia, some big men in that Georgian pack. That's going to be a tough one.
That's going to be Canada's. We're talking, this is more of a backs game. That Georgian game is going to be played in the trenches, and it's going to be really tough for Canada. That'll be a real test for them.
Yeah,
we've got we've got another half here. We've got a tough game against Italy next week too. So
that's right. And Italy are playing Argentina at the moment as we speak. So we'll try to pick up their score, but.
Well, hopefully Argentina will wear them down a little bit before they come to Canada.
Yeah, we hope so. And then they go on to play the USA after the following weekend, after Italy take on Canada.
You're right, and it's this spring season is a great time for rugby fans around the world watching their national teams. But this spring series is something Rugby Canada's put on, and it's really to get the 3 top games in 3 different parts of the country. Great kudos to Rugby Canada for pulling this off.
I was saying to Brian, this is the first game since the World Cup, and what a great World Cup was for Canada. I know you were down there. I was down there with TSN Radio, and everywhere I went, people came up to me and wanted to talk about the Canadian team. And you were in Napier, and you know what it was like. The Canadian flags, the Maori Challenge, and the haka, and
well, it was interesting.
It's just unbelievable.
In Napier, though, it was also the home of Canada. Was based out of there, but so was Japan, and they had the same colors. So the whole city was red. It was either Canada or it was Japan. So the locals, and when the game was the game, as we know, ended up at a tie, the locals didn't have to cheer for one side or the other. They were happy for both teams.
What did you think of the World Cup? Put on a good show? Oh,
absolutely. That's the second or third one I've been to. I thought this was the best one, and I have to say, your home country, Lindsay, they did themselves proud. Even in the fields, as you're driving along in between the cities, there'd be a row of hay, but they had "Go All Blacks Go" in the spelt out with the hay.
I was basically out of Auckland for the semi and finals, and just at the entertainment on the streets. And when the French game was coming up for the All Blacks, it was a Frenchman with his Beret driving an old Citroen up and down the main street.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
The crowd were just giving them a make. It was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs indeed. Getting ready for the second half. USA have just come out onto the field. USA got some big forwards, World Cup players, where Brian and
Todd Cleaver. Oh, boy, is that player. He is fun to watch, isn't he?
He's
all over the field. And they're number 11 on the wing, Luke Hume. What a player. He's just a rocket man going along those sidelines. And Chris Wiles as well, just, steady in the tackles. They've got a great back line as well. But that Todd Cleaver, I'll tell you, he is one of the best players in the world. He's so exciting to watch.
So the rain stayed away here at Kingston, and the hometown have got behind it, local radio stations, and everybody here as the Canadian team get applause from the crowd as they come back after Kieran Crowley's just laid down the law and says what I want.
Well, I think we can see a try coming in. Canada's going to come out flying in the second half. I think they're going to take it to the Americans now. This should be, Canada should win this game. Okay. I'm going to hand it back to Brian. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I'll be back down on the field.
We'll talk to you after the game, yes. Hope you get some good interviews there, Rick. Good to have Rick here in the commentary box, but join us back now is Brian Spanton, colour commentator for TSN for the World Cup, and also we'll be doing the game in BMO Field against Italy on TSN 2, I believe, live.
Yeah, the European Soccer Cup European Soccer Tournament is on, so it will be on TSN 2. Expecting a big crowd at that one, Linz.
And the pre-sales have been pretty good, and the BMO Field is such a nice field. I know last year they had the USA-Canada game, and you were in the box there with Nigel Reid. I tell you what, it was a good game, and the crowd there was just unbelievable.
It is a world-class facility. It is more renowned for soccer. Ireland are confirmed for next year. The 2015 Pan American Games Sevens are confirmed for BMO. It is a world-class rugby facility that will be used more and more and more.
And Canada needs a quality field, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they're going to have a class team and a class program, they need a class stadium to play in.
So Canada playing left to right on your screen, and just a kick through, trying to put the pressure on the fullback, Chris Wiles, and so run onto it by the Canadians, and the line out will take place just on the 22.
And Rick Power was saying he reckons Canada's going to come out fire and brimstone, and I agree with him. It's a bit of a chess match. You know, the next 5 or 10 minutes should dictate the entire 40 minutes of the second half. But what we found in the first half was both teams were having their goes and making mistakes. If Canada can get more consistent, they'll be fine. But if they turn the ball over, this American team can give them fits.
White just pushed off his opposition number like a feather as he ran around, puts the ball down. So Canada on the attack just inside the 22. Good passing as that comes through. There's the Canadian fullback, Pritchard, just covering for O'Toole as he takes the ball to the ground. Now White goes to the short side. Driving in behind him is Bidens. So White wanting the ball, just appeals to the referee. Now he gets it out to the fly half Evans as they just not going too far with it at the moment, just on the 10-metre line. A little chip kick through, putting the pressure on as it rolls into touch there with the fullback Wiles from the USA covering it, but the referee's blown his whistle and will come back. He was playing advantage, Brian.
Yeah, he played a long advantage. It was the right call, and I would think Pritchard's going to take a shot at this to get the Canadians up by more than 3 points. Very makeable kick. He's 4 for 4 in the first half, and he's jogging over. Out comes Garrett John with the tee for him, and Pritchard was money in the first half, and I would suspect he's going to stroke this one through as well.
So a bit of a distance. The wind is blowing in his face for this kick, but it's not a strong wind at the moment, is it? Just the flags moving now and again.
I'm looking at the flags, and there is a wind coming from the south off Lake Ontario, heading north. He is kicking into a mild wind, which was helping him in the first half. But as you said, Linz, the flags aren't, they're fluttering. They're not really blowing, so I would suspect it's not going to affect him very much.
So Pritchard settles himself. We have to pull that ball in to the posts, just to the left of the post, this kick. Outside the 22, it's got the height, has it got the direction? It does indeed. Another good kick by Pritchard to put 3 more points on the board for Canada. Canada leading 23 points to 18. Just 3 minutes gone in the second half. So USA coming back for the halfway, just walking back. We've got Holder going to kick it off. Let's see what he does. Gets it up over the 10-metre line. Canada there to take it. But it bounces back on the USA side. And just coming in there to pick it up was Emmerich. Now they'll come the short side. Holder trying to get it, couldn't pick it up. Evans tried to pick it up. But the referee says, I think I'll take the first infringement there.
No, that was a great play on the kickoff by the Americans, and I think Emmerich had time to ship that ball, and the States might have been off to the races on the left wing here. He elected to take it into contact. The Canadians spilled it. It will be an American put-in. This is a great attacking position for the Americans. I'd like to see more from young Holder at 10. Let's see what he's got on here. His opposite number, Evans, has been outplaying him. He's a youngster. He has great pedigree. He comes from a rugby family. Let's see what he's got on. Excuse me, it's a Canadian put in, Linz.
But if they had the scrum, he would have had something on, wouldn't he? But Canadian scrum, defensive scrum, just outside the 22. And there goes White. Just gets the ball away on the angle to Schultz. Now, not a good pass there by Schultz, but still picked up by Canada as they run up into the 22 mark. White on the short side, ducks away from one cover. Picked up again by Schultz, who had that bit of a run. It's Canada on the short side. Got the options of the open side. Schultz goes in there to put a bit of weight into the back of that maul. The referee having a close look. Looks like White's been caught up in the middle of that. So here's Evans. Hasn't got anywhere to go. Drops the ball. The referee playing the advantage. Said it was knocked on. It'll be US ball.
That's opportunity lost. The Canadians were right on the doorstep. They've gagged the ball up, and it will be an American put-in. They had numbers. They had support, and a try was wanting, but they've turned it over, and it looks like Ryan Hamilton, the hooker, is not well. They're attending to him right now. That's another Canadian player who's been chomping at the bit to get his minutes, and then with the retirement of Pat Riordan, he looks like he's number one in the depth chart, but he doesn't look very good right now.
Yeah, Sean Pittman, number 17 for the USA, replacement player just coming on. Just to stand there, I don't know. I don't think he's... he has gone in, so Pittman is replaced and just has a tap as he comes off the field there. So Pittman on for the number 2, was it, for the USA? Biller. So,
and Hamilton looks okay. We see for the Canadians warming up Jason Marshall. Jason Marshall's a tight head prop who had a wonderful World Cup campaign, was rewarded with a professional contract in France, and I'm sure he's going to get a run in the second half, but he was up loosening up, but it looks like Hamilton's going to be okay for now.
A bit of a break there by USA and loses the ball forward. And it's Pittman in for McDonald. They're the replacement. Canada just kicked it on. Scrambling USA defence at the moment. Up there was Carpenter making a great tackle. Forced the ball over, so the referee, no hesitation, says 5-yard scrum.
Yeah, that's frantic stuff. The Canadians counter-attack. The try was on. The Americans, under immense pressure, touched the ball down their goal line. This is a terrific attacking position for the Canadians, the 5-meter scrum. They cannot come away from this with no points.
They got the option there with 5 meters, 15 meters in from the touchline. They can go the short side if they choose, and they've got plenty of options there. Looks like they might come the open side there because Matt Evans, just to where he's standing, Brian, looks like they'll do a quick pass and try to break that USA defense.
I wouldn't be surprised if, I wouldn't be surprised, Linz, if they run Carpenter first and then, nope.
Did he knock it on? It looks like he may have. And that was White trying to pick up the ball, unfortunately. So now the scrum will be a defensive scrum for the USA right on the 5-meter line on the far side of the field.
And that was a big effort by the Americans. The Canadian scrum was under immense pressure. The ball at the back of the scrum was very scrappy. Aaron Carpenter ended up knocking it on, and there's an opportunity loss for the red shirts right there as the Americans would putting this ball in and will be attempting to clear it.
So referee's gone to the far side of the scrum on your screen. He's just wanting to see what's going on with the 2 outside props. Big pressure coming from Canada. And looks like Petrie just getting caught there for the USA. A bit of pressure coming from Canada there on the 5-meter line. Still USA under control with the ball. They'll just pick and drive. Just trying to set it up. And here they go again. Just making 3 meters at a time. And what they'll do, they'll just move that ball back to the fly half and kick for touch, and that's what they've done. So they'll bring play down outside their 22. So they're about 10 metres outside the 22. Still Canada on attack. Now we've got number 16 for Canada coming on. That's Jason Marshall. And we'll see who he's replacing. So Jason Marshall on, got a few replacements. And number 18's Jet Sinclair is coming on for Canada. So Crowley making a few changes.
I almost didn't recognize Jeb without his beard from the World Cup, but he's looking to have a good game today. I was talking to him. He's very excited. He's like a kid. Even though he's got all that pedigree and all those games, he was very excited about getting out for a run today.
So Canada charges up the 22-metre line. White through to Carpenter, and here's the break there to centre Schultz. Schultz still going, just about 2 metres, 1 metre out from the goal line. Good run by Schultz. Quite exciting stuff. The pressure coming now on by the Canadian forwards as they try to drive that over. They've got the ball. And that was White trying a big pass. Picking it up now is Bidens, the prop forward on the far side of the field. But lost opportunity there for Canada.
Yeah, again, Lindsay, points that were available, not taken by the Canadians. They're keeping the Americans in this game by not cashing in on these red zone opportunities. That should have been a try, and we still have a 5-point game and the penalties to the Americans who are going to clear it. As long as the Canadians don't finish the pesky Americans off, they're going to hang around and stay in this game.
So we've got some physios coming onto the ground for the USA and Canada. Got a player down on the far side. So Cleaver's down again. I tell you what, he's taken a few knocks in this game, but he still gets up.
You know, the way he plays, he's at the bottom of everything. He's making his tackles. He'll probably be the sorest man in Kingston after this game. But boy, as our colleague Rick Power alluded to, what a player.
So Biller to throw the ball in for the USA. Full line out. Referee just wanting the gap. Just asking Cleaver is talking to the captain of the USA side. Just wants the line out tidied up, Brian, by the referee. Oh, and that's good ball there as Cleaver took it 2 hands at the back of the line out. But they lose the ball. Della picks it up, tries to tidy up. Just about to take the ball was Van der Merwe. We haven't seen much of Van der Merwe in the game, actually.
No, we haven't. He's had a couple of goes, and you know, the Canadians, it's frantic stuff out there. I think they should just slow it down and take their tackles and reproduce the ball, retain the ball, but it seems like they're going a million miles an hour. They've just got to structure this a bit differently because the U.S. is feeding off the Canadian mistakes. The U.S. are not being proactive and taking the game to Canada, but here we are almost at center field when the Canadians were camped in the American zone for 3 or 4 minutes and came away with nothing again, Linz. They've got to slow it down and tighten it up.
So scrum to go down just on the 10-metre line. Canada on the attack inside their USA territory. They'll feed the ball. It's White to feed the ball. It's held at the back by Carpenter. Now they move it to the short side. Evans trying to tidy it up. White has the ball, but the referee played the advantage. It'll be a scrum to the USA.
Yeah, another unforced error. And, you know, Kieran Crowley was gray before this game. He's going to be even grayer afterwards because these drop balls, these missed tackles, these spilled balls in contact, the Canadians are making too many mistakes. And as I said, in spite of still having the lead, with 25 minutes to go, the Americans are hanging around, and all they are is one converted try away from taking this game from Canada.
So USA to feed the ball, Petrie to put it in, Holder out there at the fly half. Now they just push it out to Holder now. Just shows a bit of the ball to the Canadian defence coming up. And there's good work again there by Cleaver. Just drives it in. The big number 5 there, Doyle. Just in the tide, been in it all day long as they drive up the halfway line of Canada. Canada trying to get the drive back there, a bit of a push back. Crowd like that. The Canadians just standing off the hindmost feet in defence. Been some good tackling by the Canadians, putting their counterpart down on the field. Fullback came in, Chris Wiles is the extra man there for the USA. Bills. Just driving forward the USA, just keeping the momentum going. Getting it. Oh, and just a big push off there by Stanfill. I tell you what, it's been some hard tackles and just missing the tackle. Jeff Hassler there coming through, Brian. It's no ground given, is it?
No.
Here we go with Petrie. Just a terrible pass there by the scrum half. Coming in as Wiles, the fullback. Again, setting it up. Petrie out to Holder. Not losing the ball forward. So Canada will say thanks very much. The referee, Mr. Yonkers, just playing the advantage for Canada. Blows his whistle. Said we'll put the scrum down just outside the 22 of Canada. And so a defensive scrum for Canada. A lot of mistakes.
Too many unforced errors on both sides' part. But I think if you had asked the Americans with just over 20 minutes to go, if they would take a game with 5 points in it, they would say, sure, bring it on. The Americans hanging around this game, Canada should be clear by now with territorial advantage, but Canada continues to make too many mistakes and have not buried the American team.
Yeah, 23-19 on the time clock at the moment is 70 minutes in the second half. So still a bit of time for Canada to get a try and cement this win against the USA here in Kingston.
Here's a makeable penalty the Americans have been awarded. And once again, if they put this through, there's only going to be 2 points in it, Linz. The Canadians really have to ramp it up for the last 20. I think we'll see a couple more substitutions. One fella who has come in that has made a difference is Jason Marshall. He's really been hitting the mauls and rucks hard. He's fit, he's hard, he's athletic, and that's what they need from him.
Here we go, and just to the right of the post, 25 metres out. Holder comes in, he's got the height, and the flags stay down. Tell you what, a bit of a miss there for the fly half, Will Holder, and those ones are kickable.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the outset when I was talking to Mike Tolkien, the U.S. coach, he did not want to leave points on the table. The U.S. kicker has struggled, missed the convert earlier. That was a very makeable penalty. It looked extremely close. The touch judges did not award it, and the Americans still down 5 here.
USA just a kick, just using the angles now. It's not going to. It's going to roll into the in-goal area, so it'll be a dropout 22. So this may give the emphasis for Canada to construct something to move forward and get down into the US half, which they have. The referees brought them back. So scrum to go down, US ball. Just worried about Canada. They just got to lift themselves up a bit, Brian.
Yeah.
To get back in this game. So 20 minutes gone, 23-18. Canada's going to hold on this lead, but ideally they've got to score a try, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, the kicking of James Pritchard at this point has been the difference. I know that the American holder has missed a couple of kicks. Pritchard's been spot on, but the Canadians would like to finish in style in the last quarter and run a couple of tries in and make sure they're clear.
So USA, second time doing this kicking game. Going back in defence there was Jeff Hassler. And goes into touch. So a good little kick, put the pressure on Canada. It'll be US ball to the line out, and they're just 8 metres out from the goal area. US trying to organise themselves. They walk to that line out. The referee giving them a bit of a hurry up. So Billner to throw the ball in for the USA. So again, the referee just not happy with that line out, just tidying it up. Thrown to the back. So US will drive over the mark. And just driving up to the 5 metre line. So just held. And in support there is the hooker, Billner. It's still US ball. Scrum half Petrie wanting it. Now he'll pass it, but again, ball lost spot. Here's a great chance for Canada to get on the break and just come back at the USA as Pritchard goes to the ground just on the 22 metre line. Need to get the ball back now and just move it wide. USA defence is just strung out across the field. It's good work by White again. Good running by the forwards. Della. Oh, ball just taking the eyes off the ball there with Schultz. Goes off his chest forward. The referee will come back for the knock on. It'll be US ball.
Yeah, it's very unlucky. Dalla was very close and spun the ball quickly. Canadians did make a lot of real estate, Lynn, some positive rugby, but in the end, another mistake has left them short.
Looks like Della's coming off now. Has been going to be replaced. So he's had a good game. He's had, fits and farts, hasn't he?
Yeah, you can see his experience from the IRB sevens. He gets around the park. I was impressed with his defense today. He made a lot of tackles, did a lot of the dirty work on the ground, had a nice game, and he's a player who's in the mix for a starting position as we move forward towards these next two tests and beyond.
So over the top goes Petrie, scrum half. That's a handy kick going back. Back there was Hassler. Takes the ball. The crowd are pretty pleased with that as he gets up. And away he goes. He's got to release it and play it back or he'll get penalised. Now he does. Quickly comes back to Evans. Massive kick by Evans. And doesn't find touch. I tell you what, that was quite a handy kick. Now it gives an opportunity there for Wiles to kick it for touch. He doesn't find touch. Now Evans gives the big pass. And now the counter-attack will happen by Pritchard. Puts a little kick ahead. The crowd not happy as Pritchard was taken out. But US, the referee's got his hand out for just telling the Canadians to stay on side. There was Cleaver. Now it's out to the right winger, Peterson. He's already scored a try. So USA just 10 metres out from the Canadian goal line, wanting this ball to move it quick. It's not going to happen. But the referee blows his whistle and a defensive penalty for Canada, and they'll say, thank you very much, Mr.